Have you ever dug into why you think that you do that, or why you would be willing to, um, like, I could see in my head reasons why I would want to, and having conversations with you or presenting with you and
Mhm.
some of the anxieties that you still have, I understand where that could potentially be coming from. But have you ever dug into that on your own? Like what's the catalyst for you wanting to please everyone?
I am digging into it. I haven't entirely yet, but one that I do know about myself, I hate confrontation. I
Mm,
don't like added, like you just said, Tyler. It's like I don't like added noise. I don't like drama. I don't like added anxiety. Like my signs and all of that, I'm a Libra and I have all these things where I'm like, I'm a middle child. I just want everyone to get along. I want the peace. And so that's, and I'll deflect. And yeah. And so I've been digging into like why, like going back into my, childhood and stuff like that. But I'm still trying to figure it out because it's exhausting.
it's interesting that you have positioned yourself where you have, while still possessing some of that like temperament, because
Mm,
typically, like, I feel that you're positioning yourself as an authority within the industry, with what you do, and I know that you do have slight imposter syndrome at times with that, where it's like, why me, why, but
yeah.
the question is like, why anyone else?
Yeah.
Right.
um but at the same time, it's like you're positioning yourself to be that person,
Yeah.
while at the same time you struggle with having the confidence to be like, I am that person. So
Yeah.
like you're putting yourself in that position while
Yeah.
still not being 100% confident of who you are and what you're doing and the knowledge that you have, which I
Yeah.
think is interesting to me, because most people who feel that way run away from that and shy away from that and would
Yeah.
not put themselves in that position in the first place.
I know. It is. It's crazy because even I always want to grow and do better and be better. But yeah, we've chatted about this too. Because I'm like, 2 years ago, vividly remember going to a public speaking thing, and I was hoping that a bus would hit me and run over me. And I'm like, I was that much like, didn't feel, yeah, I was just so nervous. I had so much anxiety. I had so much imposter syndrome, all that. But I just knew that I had to keep doing this. And like, and over the last year and a half too, as I've been like doing all this work internally, Light is the New Black is this book that has totally changed my life. And I've continued repeat it every morning. Rebecca Campbell is the author, and she has a few other books that are just like incredible. They're a little bit like woo woo here and there, but take what you want out of it. But with her, she just like talks about like what is your light and finding your light and
Mm.
shining that light and stop letting the things in your head or other people or whatever dim that light. And so just like listening to her daily has just really been like, why am I not embracing this gift? Like it is a
Yeah.
gift. Don't shine away from it. Don't bury it, like, and be confident. And so I'm still working on it, but it's been night and day from now. Like I'll speak and I get excited. I mean, obviously there's still like those nerves, but I'm like, yes, let's do more and more. But yeah, it's crazy to think that I literally wanted a semi to come run me over 2 years
It
ago.
it is also because, like, when you outside looking in, I know nothing about what you do on like the back end of business and the marketing aspect of things. And so many people in our industry struggle with that. And
Mhm.
like you have a lot of that dialed, and you have a very good understanding of that, where it's like you should have very little imposter syndrome
Yeah.
speaking to that stuff, especially like considering who you're speaking to. I listen to you speak and I'm like, this is Spanish to me. I have no
Yeah.
idea what she's talking about. And you're like, no, it's super simple. And
How nice, you
you can
guys.
walk them through that, but like you should be very confident in what you're doing, because there's not many people in our industry who have the knowledge and the experience and the know-how to do what you're doing as successfully, regardless of what you do for business or what, like, it, to me, that none of that really matters as much as the information and the knowledge that you have.
I
Thank you.
I think I think the side, like the imposter syndrome, we all face it, and no matter who you talk to, at some point in time, like they either struggle with it or they continue to struggle with it,
Mhm.
and you know, internally we were talking, about our team recently, and we were talking about one of my guys on staff and how they were operating on the verge of anxiety, and we kind of chuckled about it and we said, but that's kind of what you want. You want
Yeah,
someone to operate like on the verge, because that means like they're questioning themselves in a way that they are constantly pushing themselves to be better.
yeah,
And I mean, Morgan, like, I'll second what Tyler said. Like you get up there and you speak with insane confidence, and and people probably look at me the same in a similar light, where it's like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. He's got this. He's got that. He's got it figured out. And it's like I'm the same way. I get up there, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like I'm nervous as shit. Like this is uncomfortable, and I do it over and over and over because I know, like I'm the same as you in the sense that I know that there's going to be like one thing I might say
yeah,
that someone's going to be like, that's so helpful.
yeah,
And but it's a very interesting feeling. And I read this article. I shared it with Tyler, and I'll send it to you. But Ben Horowitz, who wrote "The Hard Thing About Hard Things," which is a great book, I came across a like an article he wrote, and it's called "The Struggle," and it's it just talks about like life is a struggle, and the struggle, like, and all the parts that like we face as human beings, as entrepreneurs, as fathers, as husbands, as spouses, like. And I read it the other day, and it was it couldn't have been a better time, because I had felt just completely defeated.
yeah.
And I shared it with Tyler, and I shared it with a couple other people. Um and usually I leave my wife out of that, because I just, like, I'm the strong, confident husband. Like, I got this shit. Don't worry about it. And I sent it to her, and I was like, I wonder what she's going to say. And she wrote back. She goes, "Is this how you feel right now?" I said, "Yes." And she
Way
goes,
to
"Oh."
go.
And she was like, "Oh." And then I got home. I'm like, "Did you read it?" She goes, "Nah." And I was like, she goes, "I promise I will." But she like knew like I was sharing it, and like
Mm,
she knew it was important enough that I shared it.
right.
But
Yeah,
my whole point, I'm going down a rabbit hole here, but my whole point is that, like, as you read through that article, and you realize that this is part of growth,
yeah,
and it reminds you to reflect on what was yesterday, what was
yeah,
5 years ago, like where have you've come from.
for
And
sure.
it's like, that is, I mean, it sounds
That's the thing
cliche.
about
Every I mean, that's kind of where, like, my
mhm,
mind was going with that. It's like it's hard sometimes to think about, like, what I was doing a year ago, 2 year, whatever, and
yeah,
reflecting on the fact that I've made a lot of progress. Because in these moments, and I know a lot of people relate to this, in these moments, it is quite literally like someone is seeing just how far they
mhm.
can push you to that edge, to see if you, like, if you're just going to jump, or if you
Yeah.
can inch closer and closer to it.